Tuesday, everyone. If you're here in the U.S., hope everyone's doing well, having a good time. Well, today we got a slight hiccup in crypto news. Supposed to be crypto week here in the U.S., voting on three key crypto laws, and we got a hiccup. Um, House committee failed to gain enough votes for it to proceed. They tried to do a second vote today, and that was also denied. So our stablecoin act, the Genius Bill or Genius Act that we wanted to get passed today, that's going to help stablecoins and help our crypto bags. There's been a slight delay in that. So just because the vote didn't pass today doesn't mean that they can't revote again this week or sometime in the near future. So it looks like everybody on the right pretty much voted for this, but then we had 13 Republicans sided with the Democratic Party to say no. And unfortunately, we didn't have enough votes to pass, but this is just a minor hiccup, guys. It's going to happen eventually. That's just my opinion. We know that the current president wants this to pass, and we know that pretty much everyone along his party lines will fall in line. So it's just a matter of time. They're just working out some little kinks, and we'll get this bill passed 100%. So I hope everyone's doing well. I want to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about Aptos. I'm a big believer in SUI, and I also taken another look at Aptos. SUI and Aptos are pretty much, brother and sister, right? Meta slash Facebook, they had initiatives. They wanted to get into blockchain, and that fell through, and they closed that project down. And these founders went into their own, right? One of the founders founded SUI, and the other one went into Aptos. And Raoul Powell is a big believer in SUI. Marty Party is also a big believer in SUI. And a lot of influencers that you see on crypto, Twitter, or even on YouTube, they mainly talk about SUI when it comes to these two. Rightfully so. SUI's doing some good things. But if you look a little bit closer and you look at the metrics, Aptos isn't that far behind. It isn't a zombie coin. It's doing very well. And I'm going to share some of my findings with you as to why I think it might be a good pickup. I'm going to DCA into Aptos right now, and probably until we hit the peak of all season. I think Aptos will do very well. So let's get into Aptos. So let's talk a little bit about what happened with the Genius Act and this thing that failed to pass today, and why we shouldn't be too concerned. It's just going to happen. We just got to be a little bit more patient. Heck, we waited this long for altcoin season. It still hasn't happened, and we're still here. So, and you're still watching me. So it just shows that you have the perseverance and patience. So today, basically, several crypto-related bills backed by the president failed to clear a key procedural hurdle in the House of Representatives. So a few weeks ago, it passed in the Senate with flying colors, but it's back to the House now, just so they can make sure there's been some differences between the House bill and the Senate bill to have one unison bill that everyone can agree upon and make it get passed into law. And that hasn't happened yet. So it's just a little dance that they're doing now. It's going to happen eventually. Now, the three things that are being ruled upon or actually voted on are the Genius Act, which is, stablecoin regulation here in the US. Then there's the Clarity Act, and it establishes rules for whether an asset is regulated as a security by the SEC or as a commodity. And if you ask me, I think this is probably the one that they have some differences on. It's the main one, actually. And then the third bill would be a proposal that will prevent the Federal Reserve from creating a CBDC. And I don't think this is going to have much opposition as far as voting goes. I don't think anyone here in the U.S. wants that. The president definitely doesn't want it. He stated so many times. So I think this here, the Clarity Act, is probably what we're having some pushback, and maybe everyone's not in agreement on what to do here. So it's only a matter of time before this happens, guys. Just want y'all to be patient. And because this bill didn't pass, some of crypto-related stocks and some cryptos did take a little dip. Here, Circle stablecoin that IPO'd a few weeks back that went bonkers, went parabolic, has dropped more than 7% with this news. Coinbase fell more than 4%, and shares of digital asset firm Mara went down 2%. So, if anything, just good buying opportunity. Sky's the limit for crypto. And then if we look at Poly Market, the Genius Act, will it be signed in 2025? And it's over 90% chance that it will pass. This thing has been so on point. Poly Market has been. You don't doubt it. So the odds are very strong that the Genius Act will pass. And once it's passed, a lot of cryptos will do very, very well. Today, I'm not going to talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to focus on Aptos today, an altcoin that I'm very interested in. But if we look at Aptos, currently it sits at 33 as far as market cap goes. Current price at the time of the video is $5. Past 7 days, it's been up 12%. And if we look at the past 24 hours, it's up 0.5%. So looking at the volume today, it's about 217,000. So not that great, right? But if we dig deeper, let's take a look a little bit about tokenomics here. We see that market cap of 3.3 or 3.2 billion. Total supply is 1.15 billion. And circulating supply right now is 657 million. So there's going to be some inflation coming. But if we look at the chart here, we see this is let me see here. This is just a daily chart here. Let's look at a year chart. So if we look at a year chart, you see here everything is green and it went up pretty much, around inauguration and how we had the mini altcoin season back last fall, and then things went down. And the chart is looking steady, looking like it's finding support around the $4 mark. So $3.92, $4 mark is finding support there. But I'm going to show you why I think this is just going to go up. How far up, I don't know, but stars are aligning for Aptos to make some moves. If we look at stable coins, and we just mentioned previously about this Genius Act that Polymarket just showed will be passing in 2025. Now, this is Artemis, right? And if we look at stable coin supply per chain, and let's just go look here. And obviously, stable coins, ETH is the Mac Daddy, is the big daddy there. ETH is killing it, right? But if we look at just the others, we see Tron is second with 80 billion. Solana's fourth with 10 billion in stable coins. But if we go down a little bit, you see Aptos has 1.1 billion in stable coins, higher than Sui, which is at 829 million. Interesting. If you hear a lot of these influencers and everybody out there, you would swear Sui is killing it on all metrics ahead of Aptos. And that's not the case when it comes to stable coins. Stable coins and these spot ETFs are what's going to drive some of these altcoins, and tick mark here for Aptos. So it's doing that. Now, let's take a look at this. So USDT accounts for 75% of stablecoin supply on the Aptos network. So USDT. I know that Sui is pretty much USDC, which is Circle, but still USDT, USDC, same thing. So they have that big supply there. If we also look at DeFi, let's take a look at DeFi activity. So we see, as far as DeFi goes, Aptos is currently ranked number 12 with 955 million total value locked. 955 million. That's higher than Say. I like Say. That's higher than Sonic, formerly Phantom. That's higher than Barachain. That's higher than Cardano. That's higher than a lot of our favorite L1s. Higher than Near. That is interesting, right? So then let's take a look at something else. Let's take a look at this. Spot ETFs. We know that Ethereum already has one. There's talks about XRP getting one. There's talks about ADA getting one. Solana has many being filed. Litecoin getting one. I don't know why this isn't loading, but Bitwise also filed for a spot Aptos ETF. They filed one. So right now, that's the only one that I know of, and there's a chance it could pass. Maybe not. The odds are slim because there's only one versus, I think Solana has maybe 5+ pending, but who knows? You have stable coins, you have a spot ETF, you have DeFi, also real world assets. This is a big narrative for crypto, big use case for crypto. They have over 500 million in real world asset values. Stable coins, US treasuries, global bonds, private credit, commodities, institutional funds, stocks. That's just the beginning. So a lot of things are happening on this chain that not a lot of people are talking about. Also, they updated or made some change in leadership. They have a new chief business officer. This guy was the former head of capital markets, and he's been brought in to drive enterprise and institutional partnerships. It's a perfect marriage. Right now, stablecoins is about to be passed, crypto is being accepted. You have fintech, and they're bringing this guy in, Solomon Tesfaye, to kind of help with all of that. And what's he going to do? They want him to drive adoption and expansion globally through partnerships with institutions and other market participants within the fintech, payments, trading, and asset management areas. They also want him to shape competitive positioning in the global blockchain ecosystem by navigating regulatory landscapes, leading strategic alliances, advancing business initiatives, and contributing to industry throughout leadership. Blah, blah, blah. All things are shaping up that this project is not giving up. They're at the forefront of everything. You talk about the top L1s out there, it's rarely spoken about, but it's one that should be spoken about because of what I just said. Now let's take a look at tokenomics. So tokenomics is, that's the thing, that's the one knock I'd give it. So they are going to be releasing. So it looks like on a monthly basis. The last release was July 12th. And at that time, there was a release of about 11.3 Aptos tokens. That's the supply. That's only 1.72% of the circulating supply. And that equates to $57 million USD. So the next release is going to be August 12th for the same amount, 11.3 million coins released. So that's going to do something to the price. Now, if we look at this chart here, we see that the number is just going to increase and increase and increase and increase and increase over time. But most of this at the peak here should be strategically during our bear market. So right now we're about here. So it's not too bad. And if we look at the token distribution as far as allocations go, about 51% has been released to the community, 19% to the core contributors, 16.5% to the foundation, and 13.5% to the investors. So if they are looking at this as far as the top investors and people that had this when it was released, they know where the price is going and they know the crypto landscape. Chances are, if there is an unlock, people will probably hold. I don't think it's going to impact the price too much if they're looking at everything that I'm looking at. So with the inflation, Aptos does have a burning mechanism. And that kind of calms me down a little bit. So according to AI here, it says it does have a burning mechanism where transaction fees are burned, reducing the overall supply of Aptos. So that's good. That is very, very good. And it removes these tokens from circulation. By burning transaction fees, Aptos introduces deflationary element to its tokenomics, potentially leading to a decrease in the overall supply of Aptos over time. Not bad. Not bad at all. So right now at a price of $5, I don't see why this isn't a good play. I really don't. I don't see why this is not a good play. So I'm gonna start DCAing into Aptos right now. I know the big names, Solana, Ethereum, and all of that, but most people aren't spending over $100 for one coin versus something where you have $5, you can buy a lot of it. And if this thing doubles, triples, or even more than that, you're in a good spot. So Aptos is a winner for me. Definitely gonna be DCAing into that. But this week we have other big news. Let's see what's going on with this CPI number that should be released this week. We know that the president currently made some bad remarks about the SEC or the Fed Chair Powell, and they want him out. So let's watch that carefully. If he's out, they're going to cut interest rates and risk assets are going to boom. And then if that happens, and then we have these stablecoin bills, if that passes, these prices that you see here will not remain this low. So now is the time. Whenever we have opportunities, we should definitely DCA. So that's all I got for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think about Aptos, or if there's another smaller altcoin that we should be looking at and help fill our bags. So until next time, hope you enjoy your day and night. Talk to you later.